Making headlines tonight. Prime Minister Hun Sen has announced to his compatriots that the court order to officially changing his date of birth from the 4th of April 1951 to his actual date of birth on the 5th of August 1952. The Royal Government of Cambodia presented the Royal Order of the Chamartere Grand Cross Medal to the outgoing Turkish ambassador to Cambodia, Ida Ulu, before she ended a diplomatic remission. Myanmar's military rulers have, without explanation, ordered all legal proceedings against the deposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi to be moved from the courtroom to a prison. The death toll from the earthquake in Afghanistan on Wednesday the 22nd of June hit 1,000, disaster management officials said, with more than 600 injured and the toll expected to grow as information trickles in from remote mountain villages. This is the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Anthony Ellis. The Royal Government of Cambodia presented the Royal Order of the Chamartere Grand Cross Medal to the outgoing Turkish ambassador to Cambodia, Ida Ulu. Before she ended her diplomatic mission, she was directly awarded the medal by Prime Minister Hun Sen on Thursday morning at the Peace Palace in Phnom Penh. EAC News reporter Decca Nin has more.
In a message sent to his compatriots on Wednesday, 22nd June, Prime Minister Hun Sen stated that the reason why he had his official date of birth listed as 4th April was because this was the date he entered the forest to join the troops fighting against traitors and a foreign invasion, following the call of King Norodom Sihanouk during the 1970s. He stated, "During the war, I set the day that I joined the fighters, April 4th, 1951, as my birthday, and have used it since the past until now." He added that the change of his official date of birth to the actual date is to avoid confusion from national and international dignitaries, as well as members of the general public, who send him birthday wishes twice a year. On 20th June 2022, the Phnom Penh Municipal Court issued an order to adjust Prime Minister Hun Sen's official date of birth to his actual date of birth, 5th August 1952, after receiving an application from the Prime Minister's lawyer. The court ordered the registrar as well as the relevant authorities and institutions to subsequently revise the Prime Minister's birth certificates and other identification documents. After the court issued the order, Prime Minister Hun Sen wrote letters to Her Majesty Queen Mother Norodom Moniniat Sihanouk, His Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni, President of the Senate Sai Chum, President of the National Assembly Heng Samrin, Minister of Interior Deputy Prime Minister Saw King, Chairman of the NEC Prak Chan, Minister in charge of the Office of the Council of Ministers Deputy Prime Minister Bin Chin, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sakhon to inform them of this decision. Darshana Gauchan, EAC News.
The Royal Government of Cambodia presented the Royal Order of the Chamartere Grand Cross Medal to the outgoing Turkish ambassador to Cambodia, Ida Ulu. Before she ended her diplomatic mission, she was directly awarded the medal by Prime Minister Hun Sen on Thursday morning at the Peace Palace in Phnom Penh. EAC News reporter Decca Nin has more.
During the meeting with Prime Minister Hun Sen, Ambassador Ida Ulu informed him that relations between Turkey and Cambodia have been well maintained, both commercially and politically, over the last 2 years, even despite the COVID-19 pandemic. The goodwill of this relationship is evidenced by Prime Minister Hun Sen's past visit to Turkey and other past subsequent visits of Cambodian high delegates to Turkey. The ambassador added that she was pleased to be the Turkish ambassador to Cambodia. Leaving Cambodia, she feels like she is leaving home, said the Prime Minister assistant in Light while speaking with reporters after the meeting. The Turkish ambassador is also reported to have informed the Prime Minister that she will continue to make the relationship between the two countries stronger and deeper no matter where she is based. Prime Minister Hun Sen presented Ambassador Ida Ulu with the Royal Order of Chamartere Grand Cross Class Medal for her contributions to building relations between Cambodia and Turkey and to the development of Cambodia. The Royal Order of Chamartere Grand Cross Medal is awarded by the royal government to diplomats or representatives of friendly countries who have served for the benefit of relations with Cambodia, bestowed by a sub-decree. Turkey first established its embassy in Cambodia in 2013, which officially opened in March 2015. Ida Ulu became Turkish ambassador to Cambodia in February 2018. Dekanin, EAC News.
The 35th Asian Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights meeting was held on the 21st and the 22nd of June via video conference. The meeting was chaired by the President of Cambodian Human Rights Committee and the representative of Cambodia to the AICHR, Kioremi, and was attended by representatives of the AICHR and the ASEAN Secretariat. EAC News reporter Dashana Guchin has the details.
According to a press release issued by the Cambodian Human Rights Committee, during the meeting, representatives of Indonesia and the Philippines provided updates on the recent developments and initiatives on human rights in some ASEAN member states. The meeting deliberated on a number of documents, such as the annual report of ICHR 2022, ICHR's statement to the 55th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting, and the ICHR Priority Programs activities of 2023, in preparation for the annual interface meeting between the ASEAN Foreign Ministers and ICHR representatives to be held in August 2022. Representatives further discussed the progress made on the preparation and implementation of ICHR programs and activities, covering areas such as environmental rights, business and human rights, right to health, trafficking in persons, the rights of the child, and the ASEAN Human Rights Dialogue 2022. Strategies on how to implement the ICHR 5-year work plan 2021 to 2025 were also discussed, along with the recommendations from the Regional Dialogue self-assessment of ICHR progress after 10 years. ICHR held its annual interface with the Committee of Permanent Representatives to ASEAN with focused discussion on strengthening the cooperation of the two bodies, and also met with the Southeast Asian National Human Rights Institutions Forum to explore further cooperation on thematic issues and joint activities of mutual interest. Lastly, ICHR discussed the plan to hold the 4th ASEAN-EU Policy Dialogue on Human Rights in 2022, and all ICHR and ASEAN representatives praised ICHR Cambodia for making excellent arrangements for the meeting. The ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights was initiated by ASEAN leaders at the 15th ASEAN Summit in Thailand on 23 October 2009 to demonstrate ASEAN's commitment to pursuing forward-looking strategies to strengthen regional cooperation on human rights. The ICHR is an integral part of ASEAN's organizational structure and acts as an overarching institution responsible for promoting and protecting human rights in ASEAN. The ICHR reports to the ASEAN foreign ministers and holds regular meetings twice a year and additional meetings when necessary. Darshana Gauchan, EAC News.
The Secretary-General of the National Organisation Committee of the 32nd Southeast Asian Games, Vat Tamran, has said that the Cambodia hosting the 32nd SEA Games will help show the world that Cambodia is now different from the image of the war-torn country people may still have from the past. EAC News reporter Decca Nin has more.
Speaking at a press conference on the road to the 32nd Southeast Asian Games 2023 on Thursday, 23rd of June, the Cambodian SEA Games Organizing Committee Secretary General Vat Tamran said that many countries spend a lot of money to host sports events. For example, China hosted the 2008 Olympic Games, which cost more than $2 billion. He said the reason China spent so much money to host the Olympics is because the country wants to be seen by the world and show how it has become a superpower. In this line, he stated that Cambodia is organizing the SEA Games because Cambodia also wants the world to see the progress of it has made since emerging from the devastation of war. He said, "We want to change Cambodia from being a country with a bad world image. Because the world is so big, some countries do not know Cambodia well, and some countries and people still have the mindset that Cambodia is still a war-torn country, still a country with a lot of mines, still a poor country. They do not know what Cambodia is really like now, so what we will do with the SEA Games is easily disseminate this information to the world." The Minister of Information, Kip Kanyaret, also spoke at a press conference and said, before, Cambodia was known for two things. First, Angkor Wat, and second, the Pol Pot regime. But now, the SEA Games can help change a lot. As I said about sports, when one of us wins medal, our whole country wins too. The 32nd SEA Games will be held under the theme Sport, Live in Peace. Cambodia will host the Games from the 5th to the 17th of May 2023. About 10,000 people, including 7,000 athletes, coaches, and technical officials, are expected to take part in the regional major sporting event, which will feature around 40 major sports events. 5 capitals and provinces have been designated for the competition: Phnom Penh, Siem Reap, Sihanoukville, Kaip, and Kampot. Phnom Penh is expected to host various sports. Siem Reap will host cycling competitions. Sihanoukville will host skiing and sailing competitions. Kaip will host the triathlon, and Kampot will host the sailing and kayaking events. Dekanin, EAC News.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favourite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
While Finland has prepared for decades for a Russian attack and will put up a stiff resistance should one occur, Lithuania will be prepared if Russia disconnects it from the regional power grid in retaliation for blocking rail shipments of Russian goods to Moscow.
The Nordic country has built up a substantial arsenal, but aside from the military hardware, General Timo Kivinen said a crucial factor is that Finns would be motivated to fight. The most important line of defense is between one's ears, as the war in Ukraine proves at the moment, Kivinen said in an interview. Once a non-aligned country, it is now applying to join the NATO military alliance over concerns that Russia could invade like it did Ukraine on February 24th. Since World War II, Helsinki has kept up a high level of military preparedness. It has also built one of Europe's strongest artilleries and has stocked up on cruise missiles with a range of up to 370 kilometers. It spends 2% of its GDP on defense, a level higher than many NATO countries. It plans to order up to 2,000 drones, its own high-altitude anti-aircraft equipment, and it's building barriers on its border with Russia. Some 82% of respondents in a May 18 poll by the Defense Ministry said they would be willing to participate in national defense if Finland was attacked. With relations between Moscow and the West at a half-century low over Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Lithuania banned the transit of goods sanctioned by the European Union across its territory to and from Kaliningrad, citing EU sanction rules. Kaliningrad is sandwiched by NATO member countries Poland and Lithuania and supplied by rail via the territory of Lithuania. Lithuania shut the route for transport of steel and other ferrous metals from mainland Russia on Saturday, 18th June, saying it had to do so under EU sanctions that took effect that day. We are ready and we are prepared for unfriendly actions from Russia in response, such as disconnection from the Brel power grid system or others, Lithuanian President Gitanis Nausėda said. 30 years after seceding from the then Soviet Union and 17 years since joining the EU, Baltic states, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia still depend on Russia for stable power supplies. However, Lithuania installed equipment on its power link to Poland last year to connect with the continental European grid quickly as an insurance policy in case Russia cuts off the flow of electricity, potentially causing blackouts.
Myanmar military rulers have, without explanation, ordered all legal proceeds against the opposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi to be moved from a courtroom to a prison. A source familiar with her cases said on Wednesday, the 23rd of June. Nobel laureate Suu Kyi, who turned 77 on Sunday, June 19th, has been charged with at least 20 criminal offences since she was toppled over in the coup early last year, including multiple counts of corruption. Some media reported Suu Kyi had also been moved from a house arrest to detention in Nay Pol Idao prison on Wednesday. Reuters could not verify those reports. Junta leader Min Aung Hlaing has so far allowed Suu Kyi to remain in detention in an undisclosed location in the capital of Nay Pol Idao, despite convictions that indictment and several minor offences. Suu Kyi denies all charges. The source, who declined to be identified due to sensitive over the trial, said hearings would be shifted to a new special court in Nay Pol Idao's prison. The ruling military council could not immediately be reached for comment. Suu Kyi's marathon court proceedings take place behind closed doors with only limited information reported by state media. A gag order has been imposed on her lawyers, who only access her is trial days. It is not clear how much Suu Kyi knows about the crisis in her country, which has been in chaos since the coup, with the military struggling to consolidate power facing increasing resistance from militant groups. Western countries have called convictions of shame and demanded her release. The military say she is being given due process by the independent judiciary. The Nobel laureate was arrested during a military coup early last year and has been found guilty of 7 comparatively minor offences so far, among a multiple of charges that carried combined prison sentences of almost 190 years. Myanmar has been turmoil since the February 1 coup, as Suu Kyi's democracy-elected government led to widespread protest and raised international concern about the end of tentative political reforms following decades of military rule.
Met Aung San Suu Kyi this morning at the #1 Defence Services Guest House.
The death toll from an earthquake in Afghanistan on Wednesday the 22nd of June hit 1,000. Disaster management officials said with more than 600 injured, and the death toll expected to grow as more information trickles from remote mountain villages.
Red flares marked the spot for helicopters to land in the Paktika province to reach the injured and fly in medical supplies and food. Houses were reduced to rubble and bodies swathed in blankets laid on the ground. The quake struck about 44 kilometers from the city of Khost, near the Pakistani border, the U.S. Geological Survey said. Afghanistan's Deputy Minister for Disaster Management, Maulawi Sharafuddin, said the government will be giving out 100,000 Afghani cash to victims' families and 50,000 Afghani cash to the families with injured people. An unknown number of people remain stuck under rubble and in outlying areas, health and aid workers said, and rescue operations were complicated by difficult conditions, including heavy rains, landslides, and many villages being nestled in inaccessible hillside areas. Children were among the injured victims receiving treatment at a hospital in Paktika. "We were all sleeping at home and the room fell over us," said Gul Faraz, as he received treatment for injuries with his wife and children at a hospital in Paktika. Some family members had been killed, he said. "All the houses in our areas were destroyed. Not one, but the entire region has been destroyed." Shaking was felt by about 119 million people in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and India, the EMSC said on Twitter, but there were no immediate reports of damage or casualties in Pakistan. The EMSC put the earthquake's magnitude at 6.1, though the USGC said it was 5.9. Wednesday's quake was the deadliest in Afghanistan since 2002, the U.S. Geological Survey said. Large parts of South Asia are seismically active because a tectonic plate known as the Indian Plate is pushing north into the Eurasian Plate. Mounting a rescue operation will prove a major test for the Taliban, who took over the country last August and have been cut off from much international assistance because of sanctions. Adding to the challenge for Afghan authorities is recent flooding in many regions, which has blocked stretches of highway. Afghanistan is also grappling with a severe economic crisis. In response to the Taliban takeover last year, many countries imposed sanctions on Afghanistan's banking sector and cut billions of dollars in development aid. Humanitarian aid has continued, however, from international agencies such as the United Nations. A foreign ministry spokesman said the Taliban would welcome international help.
Now, let's have a look at the weather and what you can expect for tomorrow. And finally, with the absence of 2 years due to COVID-19 pandemic, the Phnom Penh International Half Marathon returned in fine form with over 3,000 competitors. Organisers were happy with the registrations and are now looking forward to the 7th Khmer Empire Full Marathon, which starts and finishes in front of Angkor Wat Temple in Siem Reap. Due to a 2-year absence due to COVID-19, the Phnom Penh International Half Marathon returned with a vengeance. Over 3,000 competitors competed and hundreds of volunteers helped to put the marathon back on track. The organisers were very overwhelmed with the response they received. The opening and closing ceremonies of the event were presided over Dr. Tong Kon, Minister of Tourism, President of the National Olympic Committee Cambodia, Vut Chamron, Secretary of State, the Ministry of Tourism and Secretary of NOC, Kul Bun Lee, Secretary of State, Ministry of the Royal Palace, and with the participation of Nun Parit, Deputy Governor of Phnom Penh. EAC News went to the Half Marathon Expo to chat with organisers and competitors and also had the privilege to interview Managing Director Sam Falla. Can you tell us about your organisation?
Yeah, actually, our organization, we are the member of the international network. We are the member of the AIMS. That means Association of International Marathon and Road Races. So we are the member of more than 100 countries, more than 100 countries that who are the member of the AIMS. That is the International Marathon, World Marathon. So in Phnom Penh, we also the international race, and in Siem Reap we have a 2 race international, and also in Siem Reap next year, we organize in Siem Reap also. We stimulated by the support of the government side and also authority in every place that we organize this event. For example, in Phnom Penh, we are very happy and also very grateful to the support from the authority of Phnom Penh, Phnom Penh government side, and also Siem Reap, and also in Siem Reap. So they support like security, traffic control, and ambulance from medical care, also from the provincial or capital government side, also support about this one.
What's the feeling like today from the runners?
Today is a very happy day for everybody for the running. Runner, they come to collect the sponsor, the race kit today and tomorrow. For the on the 19th, we will have a big marathon event in front of the Royal Palace. This is for the celebration of the 10th anniversary of also our Phnom Penh International Half Marathon.
This is your 10th year running as a half marathon in Phnom Penh?
Yeah, this is the 10th anniversary of Phnom Penh International Half Marathon in Phnom Penh. The first one we organized in 2013, and until today is 10 years already. But actually, we have some problem about the COVID pandemic period, 2 years. We didn't do anything, and we just start again for this year, 2022.
What are the distances of the marathon, and have you received a lot of registrations this year?
Half marathon, we have a 21K, a 10K, and 3K. And total runner, we got almost 4,000 at the moment. 21K, we have around 400 runners, 21K. And 10K, we have more than 1,500 around that. And also 3K, maybe we got around 2,000 runners. So totally around a little bit more than 4,000 for these years. So if we compare with the last 2 years before the pandemic, in 2019 we got more than 6,000 runners, and this year we got more than 4,000. It means 2/3 of the last year. So very successful, I think. It's very warm in my heart from the organizer of the event, because we just started and we got 2/3 of the last event. Yeah, so I think it's good. It's good enough.
Do your runners come from all over the world?
Yeah, it's come from, actually, we have 52 countries, including Cambodia, 52 countries. So we have the top 3 countries, we have Japanese, we have China, and we have another one, maybe Australia or something, I forgot, but sorry about that. Yeah, we'll check again.
The marathon is for anyone to join?
Yep, family is not limited. They're open, for family from kids to the old people, for the whole family, yeah.
How does everyone feel the marathon takes place in front of the Royal Palace?
Yeah, it's very happy because the Royal Palace permit us to organize this one exactly in front of the gate of the Royal Palace. And actually, this event in Phnom Penh, especially for we celebrate always. We organize for the 10th year already with the main purpose of for the celebrate the King Mother's birthday. This is the main purpose of our event. And the second one for the health of the Phnom Penh people and for the people around Cambodia.
Andrew from the UK has been living in Cambodia for about 14 years and was glad to see the marathon back. He had run the marathon a couple of times and this year his whole family was going to join.
In Cambodia, I always try to do the Angkor Wat, sometimes the half marathon, sometimes the 10K. So I've done that one. I think those are the ones I've done. Always enjoyable to run here. Preparation for training, I think I've done probably more mental training than I have physical training, but I hope that kind of positive visualization will help get me over the line. I might quite not make the Olympic qualifying time, but as long as I get round in one piece, I'll be happy.
Two teenage boys, Krul Mong String and Guy Chahok, who are friends from school, came to Expo to sign up for the 21-kilometre run. They were asked if they had run the marathon before and what training had prepared for the marathon.
Well, we actually train together. We run around, whenever we find like tracks like these, we just run around it for like an hour or 2 hours. And we would do 5 to 10 Ks every single day, basically, yeah. I just want to challenge myself because my whole life has been about studying, so I want to do something that's physical. So this is a good place to start.
In the men's 10-kilometre race, the first place went to Aya Angraj from Ethiopia, the second to the Cambodian Kang Torun, and the third Cambodian Uk Rohit, while the first place in the women's event went to Cambodian Tun Samavati, second place went to Cambodian athlete Un Champetra, and the third place went to Cambodian athlete Eng Moi Jing. Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup here on EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, check our website eacnews.asia or search EAC News on Telegram, Smart TV or your favourite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We'll see you then.